2006. How old were you? What were you doing? TSM's Björksen was 10 years old. The StarCraft champion Life was 9. The ESL started running Intel Extreme Masters in 2006. It has existed for half of those players' lives. Our beginnings were at a time when CRT monitors were still a thing, and Warcraft 3 was a top game.
Fly is really going for, there are so many wisps there around.
By today's standards, it wasn't glamorous, it was little. We were talking about tens of thousands of viewers, not millions. But we wanted to travel the world and show gamers on all continents what esports was all about. The thrill, the passion, the joy, the hard work, the excitement. We started in the corner of a trade show, but this is becoming history. 50 odd events, and today we are here, in a major US sports arena. Intel Extreme Masters San Jose. This is the new chapter, and you are in it.
Hello. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Intel Extreme Masters. We are at the SAP Arena here in San Jose, and this is a big deal, guys, because this is a real sports arena. Just 2 days ago, we had a hockey game in here. Now we're taking it over for esports, and I am so excited. How about you? Thank you so much for joining us. You are an incredible crowd. I am your host, Rachel, the least of the incredible list of talent we have for you here today, not only in players, but in broadcasters, casters, translators, and interviewers. But let's get down to the real stars of the show. Please help me welcome to the stage our players. First up from My Insanity, give it up for Rain. He's an OSL and GSL champion. Maybe after this, he'll be an Intel Extreme Masters champion too, but not if True has anything to do with it. True represents Dead Pixels, a brand new Swiss team. Let's see if he can make a mark at this event. Gentlemen, please shake hands. And head to your booths. Casters, it's all about you now.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Day number 1 here at the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose main tournament, and we open things up with a cracker. As Paul would say, it's going to be Rain versus True. Couldn't start any better than this.
You know, after BlizzCon, I was kind of going through, casting withdrawal because, there were so many insane games in that Final 8, and we have a lot of the players who were there. Arriving at this event, we have Bomber, we have Hero, and this first event, Rain versus True, these are players that, like Rachel said, are championship caliber players starting things off as the very first match of the day.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people, as we've already seen on the desk, are touting Rain to go as far as he is, and then there's one of them that also touts True to go as far as he wants him to.
Yeah. I love how Apollo's really banking on True. It's not that just True's going to win this match, he's going to win the whole tournament.
Yeah. He has a lot of confidence in him, and to be fair, he's had a lot of confidence in him for a long, long time, ever since he really kind of took to the stage on Pro League, getting a lot of good wins there, and then went to DreamHack Stockholm, where he did get quite far, but wasn't able to really eke it out at the very end. So, True, ever since joining Dead Pixels, has got a lot of lineage behind him here, but whether or not it stacks up to someone like Rain remains unknown.
The interesting thing about these two players is they have a kind of similar arena in that Pro League is really the place where we've seen both of them shine. I mean, Rain, I know GSL and OSL wins are really good. I know that getting first place in the most competitive league in the world is really, really good. But it's in his Pro League matches, his consistency, the fact that SK Telecom was putting him out again and again and again and again, and he showed good all-around play on the spot. And that is something that IEM tournaments are very much so all about, because you have to play all your games over the course of 2 days, so you don't get much prep time.
Yeah, and the really cool thing about Rain's style overall is that we've seen this evolution of it. At the very beginning of him really kind of springing onto the StarCraft 2 scene from StarCraft 1, it was all about the macro, and never really a deviation from that. But recently we've seen like this Rain that has taken on a new form. He can mix in these cheeses, as Rotterdam was already mentioning on the desk. He goes for these kind of 5-gate pressure plays that make it really hard for Zergs to even know what's going on. If you are a big macro player and you mix it up like that, oh my god, are you a scary guy?
Yeah, and I mean, the thing about Rain is that his downfall when he was doing the really standard, the really macro-based plays, were players playing to counter him directly.
Exactly.
And those counter styles work only if you're very, very fixed in your play. So the fact that Rain is switching it up, I think has a lot to do with why we haven't seen him really at the top of his form for the last few months. We haven't seen him in the finals of those major tournaments because it takes a long time to attune to that new style. Yeah. And this is the sort of tournament where I really expect to see that in full form.
Whereas True, on the other hand, for me is one of the most opportunistic players here in the entire field. If he sees an opening, he will go for it. The one downfall for True I see is that during DreamHack Winter, he didn't really have that much success against Protoss players. He fell to Hero and First along the way, who, if you look at those two players and then you compare them to Rain, I'm worried a little bit for True here.
The thing that I think is going to be going for True is that despite the fact that Rain has been the player to switch it up, to change his style a little bit, think of a player like Hero. Liquid Hero is a really kind of kooky, crazy, all over the place type of player. And True is going to have a very hard time preparing against that. Even though Rain has deviations, there's sort of the standard deviations. It's just another level of that planning. And True's style, in fact, most of Zerg vs. Protoss style, is trying to exploit the overly common patterns that Protosses do. Protosses are early expanding all the time. Well, 3 hatch before pool, and guess what? It's almost always safe now.
Yeah, and you see it a lot on 3-player maps, like Merry-Go-Round will definitely be in this map order, as it is the second map here. Noticeably, King Sejong Station and Overgrowth always there. They've been true, tried and tested. They've always been in this map pool. Throughout the past 2 days, the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose and Burbank, and no changes here in that.
I'm really excited that King Sejong Station is the first map because a map like Overgrowth, very build order reliant because it's pretty safe and calm in terms of key defense points. But King Sejong Station, you get to do a lot of really cool on-the-fly judgment. That's always my favorite part, to see how they're positioning their war prisms and darting around. There's a lot of opportunity for tactics. And I think the big question is, how is True going to take the mid game? Is he going to be able to pull off those aggressive moves? Because that's where we really see him get his edges, is those big Roach Ling plays or Ling Hydra plays in mid game.
And the cool thing, again, about King Sejong Station is that for a player like Rain, who has those tendencies to go for big macro games, but also can mix in things, I think King Sejong Station in this map pool is the most versatile map in terms of the 1v1 map. I think it's one of the maps that players feel most comfortable on. Obviously, we see it a lot. So taking a third base is quite happy here for Rain, as well as even just going for those kind of 5-gate plays.
And on this map, the story is going to be about how the Zerg gets the 4th base. Natural is a little tricky. It'll just be more interesting to see how they defend it because they're pros. They'll be able to defend their 2nd base. But after the 3rd base, there's not a clear 4th for Zerg to take.
That's a good point.
You kind of just make yourself expand as Zerg and see if you can defend it, but it's not an obvious 4th. When you take Overgrowth, you have 4 bases that line your side of the map. Well, you take those 4, no problem. But on this map, the fact that anywhere you expand creates more vulnerabilities, you are expanding towards your opponent, it's a closer push. This is, we tend to see a big switch, a big flip for Zerg players as they're taking their 4th. They switch to Swarm Host, they switch to Mutalisk, something that allows them to just stay alive against all the Protoss threats.
And what you're saying, on a map like King Stage on Station, the back rocks at that natural make a really, really big focal point. Because sometimes you see people just saying, well, I'll stick on 3 base, I'll kill those back rocks off, and then I'll put my pressure, apply my pressure down that direction towards the 3rd base of Protoss, or take those back rocks down and then use that as your 4th base location, which is... I like that as a 4th base compared to the one way over to the left or right, depending on where you spawn.
Yeah, I mean, there's, again, it's really cool. There's a decision.
Yeah.
Which 4th do you take? It's really not obvious, and they sort of unfold in very different ways. In terms of the Protoss side of things, it's going to be trying to deal as much damage as possible early to begin chipping away at that 4th later. I mean, the ideal case for Protoss is that he gets 3 bases and Zerg never gets beyond 3, and it's an easy cleanup. But against a player like True, you can't exactly bet on that. So as great as, you know, the big death ball style pushes are, Zergs have set themselves up for answers. Crazy 3-hatch before pool plays that used to be crazy are now standard.
Yeah. Oh, very standard. We're seeing them a lot as of late. I mean, more and more Protoss are going for the Gateway Expand, which is a whole lot harder to apply pressure.
You greedy Protosses.
It's a whole lot harder to apply pressure to a 3-hatch before pull. So all of these Zergs getting away with it is beautiful.
Yeah. You know, I'm curious, as we're getting into this very first match, how many of you out there, is this your very first live event?
That's a lot.
Oh my God, you're so lucky. My first live event was in a school gym. We're at the SAP Center here in San Jose. A fantastic start to things. It's True versus Rain on one of my favorite maps in the map pool, King Sejong Station.
Too true, too true. It's a very, very nice map. To start things off, game number 1 between True and Rain. As, again, I've got to go with Rain here. I'm feeling poised for Rain. I think he's going to do good, not only in this match, but also in this tournament.
Yeah.
But True has the ability to upset.
Yeah, you know, I'm leaning a little bit towards True, not for anything about who the players are, but because of how the matchup is working as of late. The entire matchup is about, can Zerg properly identify when the Protoss is being greedy, and then go mass drones. And Zergs have set themselves up much stronger with the 3-hatch play in the modern metagame.
All right, let's get into things then. Game number 1 of the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose weekend, as we have, spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner, it's our blue Zerg. Representing Dead Pixels, it is True.
And in the top left-hand corner, he's an OSL champ, a GSL champ, a Pro League All-Star, hoping to start his winning right now. It is My Insanity's Rain! And I mean, already Kalaris, we see the ever-so-greedy pylon in the main. You talked about this. For any new or veteran players, actually, no, not. That would be literally everyone. You know, for the new players out there who are watching on stream or here live for the first time, if your friend brought you, just give a high five to your friend. They did the right thing. So often, thinking defensively is what gets you killed. You build the defenses, the attack never comes. So you've wasted your money, yeah. So what we're seeing Protosses do is build no defenses early on and just expand. And the one hero is going to be this probe, just going to make sure that there's no early aggression. And he's just going to go Nexus straight into no cannon.
Yeah, that was a good check there by Rain. He was worried that even if it was like a drone coming out to try and block at that natural, it's really, really important that your minerals line up properly and he can get that Nexus down. If he did see a drone coming, could have thrown down the gateway in the main and maybe alleviated himself a little bit of pressure, and the opportunity cost wouldn't have been wasted.
Here comes True with the 3rd drone heading straight to the 3rd expansion. And, this is just beautiful. You know, most of the time, the old problem, like the problem that Zerg probably had from 2010 to 2013, like for years, the problem was, if I think you're going all in, Protoss, I gotta stop building drones and try to stay alive. And if it turns out you're not going all in, well, I didn't build enough drones and I'm dead. And here, True has plenty of larvae, so he can afford to make 20 larvae worth of units, and it's fine. It doesn't impede his economy greatly.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of drones, and Rain gets in there, sees that spawning pool going down at this particular time, so he now knows it's triple hatch before pool. Day 9, it's as if we cast this game before it even happened, because right now, they're both playing to what we were assuming they were going to.
I know, we're like precogs. This is Minority Report. Tom Cruise is going to steal one of us in a minute, because we're so smart. smart. Oh, we're smart with the future.
Smart with the future. Clairvoyant indeed. Well, for now, he's actually got that cybernetic score on the way. Double gas here, just pretty normal things from Rain. True feels comfortable in getting this Overlord into a good position because he knows it was a Nexus first, so there's not going to be super fast rushed out Stalker getting that first Overlord.
And in these period of times where players are doing what you might glance at and say, oh, yep, totally normal build, got it. I can go back to surfing Twitter. It's the little things, like look at the arrangement of buildings in Rain's base. The Cybernetics Core pylon gateway forms a little wall to prevent any units in the main base from running through. But there's a small slit to still allow stalkers and probes to move in and out for Mutalisks when they come later. Those little things add up, a percent here, a percent there, to where you can achieve those 70% win rates.
Ooh, and as we said at the very beginning, Rain has been mixing things up nowadays. Normally you wouldn't see him going for something as aggressive as that pylon is indicating over on the right-hand side, but he is throwing spanners in the works here, and Shrew is going to have to be very, very keen about identifying this.
And this is where it's going to be all about how sharp of a player True is, because most Protosses just don't get the mothership core quickly if they're trying to do one of these sort of cheeky Stargate plays. So if you're Zerg and you just see the Stalker, oftentimes that's enough of a signal.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, where else is that gas going to be going at this point? He already saw the double gas in the main base. There has to be quite a bit already banked up there for Rain. And that Stargate is just about to finish. So how many gates is he going to put? Okay, so just the two at the front. There are sometimes some weird wonky builds where you get the Stargate, then even go for gateway pressure before it. We already saw someone going for the complete reversal of that in first during the first weekend, or the initial few days of Intel Extreme Masters San Jose, and it can be quite potent.
So right now, if we look at the unit count, we're going to see that True has an insane amount of drones. He's at 44. He's about to have some larva injects pop off. And at this point, he needs to ask, what is the Protoss up to? Just before 7 minutes is the money moment. Just before 7 minutes is when you send that Overlord in. You say, hey, I see a Stalker. I see an inactive gateway. I see no sentries at the front. This guy's probably going for something Stargatey, and look at the drones begin to get produced.
Yeah, very, very nice. Overlord actually spots this on the right-hand side, but he hasn't reacted too quickly to this. No spores or any extra queens in production, so he's going to lose a few drones to this. I would say at this moment that he didn't really see that even up to the top right-hand corner, but he's replacing everything that's dying with so many drones because he had such a powerful economy in the first place. And
what an error from Rain. Oh, God, I don't think that was worth it. I mean... Ooh, wait, well, you see 4 gateways going on in the main. Let's see, when were those extra gateways built? Okay.
And how did the Zergling get in and see everything? He sees all the gateways. He saw the Twilight Council working away as well. This is brilliant for True. He has all the pieces of the puzzle to his fingertips.
And what's amazing is that with the 3 hatch before, oh my goodness, a second Oracle for Rain sweeping in, trying to deal damage. Having 1 Oracle alive is so critical. If you have no Oracles on the map, Zerg never has to worry about getting attacked. He will stop worrying about the minimap and he will focus more on scouting and dealing damage to you. But now with the 3 hatch having gone down, True has the economy he needs to begin pumping out units. And now we see Queens, we see Zerglings, we see the Roach Warren all getting built to deal with this push.
Interestingly enough, it looks like he had the Roach Warren on the way before, but it looks like he may have cancelled it after the Oracle flew in, which is a bit of a setback considering the follow-up here for Rain, who is just pushing across with no weapons upgrades. So all in all, this blink attack hits a little bit quicker than normal, and it's kind of scary at this point for True.
Yeah, that's a great point. With no forge, with nothing else that the gas was spent on. Look at this, it's going to hit before 10 minutes. And there were Oracles. Most Zergs don't prepare too well for that. But again, with 3 hatches first, you have so much larva. True hitting the front, just making sure there is no third. And since there's none, True confirms the all-in.
He's got to get a very, very good wall off here. Sentry tries to warp in. And it was on a pylon that was actually powering that location. Cancels the warp in. Those Zerglings get in. And at the front, it's all Zerglings wrapping around these Stalkers. Has to recall out.
Oh my God, True running the ZVP clinic. Welcome to the modern metagame, Protoss. You want to get cheeky? Well, hey, I've been building drones for days. I have plenty of lings. Now everything's revealed. True sees that there's no +1. He sees that there's not even a forge. What's your next step, is Rain?
I think he's just going to have to go again, but there's going to be so many Lings out by this time. All in all, that bought so much time for True, and he has a lot of freedom behind it. His +1 weapons is going to finish up before these Stalkers even get over the other side of the map.
I know, and look at all the money that True has. It's not because he went AFK. That's just what happens when you get that much larva, and in the emergency situation where he's building only Lings, he's saving up a lot of money, he's stockpiling, but in True's shoes, I'm starting to say, wait a minute, man, where are your geysers? Do you have enough geysers? In the main base, we see the geyser for Zerg is not really started mining very much. We see it as natural expansion. Those have just gotten started. At the third base, still no geysers getting up. So, yeah, True seems to have a lead, but gas is what you need to make the great follow-up.
Yeah, it's like what he's done is he's basically kind of cut a few corners to make sure that he's true and sturdy against this little push that's going to be coming out. But overall, Rain with his Forge and Dark Shrine going down, there are extra things mounting up here that True needs to really, really account for, because it's the third base behind this for Rain now. He knew that it's very unlikely that his Blink push was going to be working from then on.
Yeah, I mean, if you are ever just building more of the same stuff, something's going wrong. I mean, StarCraft 2 is about next steps. I mean, Rain, he went Oracle, he followed up with the Gateway play, and now what's he doing? He's going to Dark Templar to harass while he gets up a third. These are next steps. What's True doing? He looks like he's committing to try to just end this here and now.
You know what's so cool about the Dark Templar play for me is that True was very, very apprehensive about adding on Spore Crawlers to deal with those Oracles when it first came in. So chances are he probably hasn't added them on still. So it's going to be up to Overseers morphing in to try and deal with the Dark Templars. And this might be a good opportunity for Rain to get in after analyzing these situations.
Wow, Rain did not want to disappoint Rotterdam in this series, so he is pulling it together fast and true. I am terrified of the decision he made to build only Ling Roach to go for counterattacks. Rain is known for his amazing defense. The Dark Templar are now at the expansion, the Dark Templar are now at the third, and we're seeing True suddenly in emergency mode. Drones are falling left and right.
Yeah, this is a really good opportunity for Rain to kind of pull himself back into this a little bit, getting a lot of drones. Overseers morph in, and eventually they will die off. But again, this bought quite a bit of time and counterbalance for Rain to be setting up back at home. Whilst all this was going on, was the third base really under threat? Not too much. True has been elsewhere doing things.
And while that Dark Templar attack went into the expansions, the Oracle snuck in, got a few more kills at the far south side. And remember, the story of Zerg vs. Protoss on King Sejong Station is, can Protoss kill the fourth for Zerg? Can Zerg get up a fourth comfortably? And we're starting to see, this is looking a little dicey.
Yeah, more and more threats in the middle of the map seen by those Zerglings, and he will position himself in such a way to, it looks like, kind of count some of those reinforcements, or even just go to the third base. It's going to be the reinforcements for now, but he's got pathogen glands on the way with the Hive as well. So True is finding angles here where he can be really pushing forward his tech against Rain, who can't really apply too much pressure with only Gateway forces.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fantastic point. Gateway forces, I mean, right now we see no High Templar, we see no Colossus. I mean, Infestation Pit is going to be a great play. We see True, all these moves, he's buying time. He doesn't care. All that's fine, but it looks like there's a warp and attack in the main. Nope, looks like there's going to be a scout.
Yeah, having a little look around, he sees the extent to which the Hive is going, so that's not too bad at all. It's a good pickup. And this Stalker, their watchful Stalker, is able to spot these guys on the rocks, so he should be able to get back in time if he recalls. There we go.
I mean, Rain is known for being a master of defense, a master of the long-term play. I mean, he's looking relatively good, but whoa, this is...
I mean, bold. You can do that if you really want to. I mean, he's going to be able to hold off at this location. The only thing Rain has to be careful now is that, yes, of course, True is trading these off, but unfortunately, Rain would really like to be on the other side of the map, putting on pressure himself, and that's what the Warp Prism's for.
All these attacks, beautiful movement right now by True, stepping in. He finds the sentries undefended. Oh my God, Rain! What happened to the focus? We see a warp in at the bottom right. In the midst of this attack, we see pressure still trying to be applied by Rain, and he has got to ratchet up the attacking fast. Look at the Zergling upgrades coming out.
Jeez, that is a lot of Zerglings on the field as well, and he has to be very careful. Those Stalkers will melt away if he doesn't land good force fields or have a good wall of Zealots, or even some AoE damage. Right now, he's still really stuck on predominantly Gateway units. Only the first Colossus has started just now. He got a second Robo, but he... yeah, you're damn right you're chrono boosting into those, my friend. You need to get those out fast.
Yeah. We see attempts at pressure, attempts at gateway units moving out. Only thing that's going to be able to guarantee some success is a recall. And this is what Rain needs. This is what he needs. This is his moment. He needs the force field. He needs to kill that. And if this goes down, this is a huge win for Rain. Rain is going to be able to get it, and he force fields. Oh, what a great play right there by Rain.
And also in the main, also doing quite a bit of damage with some zealots as well, even getting on top of some of the...
Oh, the Ultra Cavern.
Oh, wow. Very nice pickup there, delaying that. If you can get anything else in here, if you've got the infestation pit, that'd be brilliant.
And I mean, True played the opening out great. In the mid-game, we started to go, wait a minute, Ling Roach with no fourth? You want to attack right now? And here's the danger zone. We see True with no fourth base, just restarting his right now, and Rain goes, oh, what a relief. I have 2 Colossus. I'm going to chrono boost out Immortals. I'm going to get more Stalkers. I'm finally comfortable. True has to do a big move.
Yeah, Rain bought himself so much time with a kill on that Ultralisk Cavern, and now, I mean, with those Immortals on the way, he knows all of True's plans, the majority of True's plans. That would maybe need a little bit more, that's a lot of Zerglings.
Oh, this is classic True, using the masses of Zerglings to counterattack the main base, and Rain has to choose where is he going to defend.
Yeah, recalls back, and actually that's a good recall. He really wants to be able to make sure that those 2 robo facilities don't die, especially if he could save an Immortal. That'd be very nice, and he does. Those are going to be so helpful. 5 Ultralisks in production, but the next follow-up is already on the way for True. He's getting down that spire to eventually transition out, where Immortals and Colossi, etc., will be kind of useless after the double robo, which is a really good choice for True, I think.
I mean, the silent hero for Rain is those Phoenixes, the hallucinated Phoenixes, again and again and again, scouting, and we're seeing Rain not overcommit to Colossus or Immortals. He's going to make this same play time and time and time again. If you can just deny the 4th base on this map, in this matchup, that's your ticket to win.
A few Stalkers notice the Lings at the back, and it's just going to be straight counter-attack here for True to try and keep the pressure onto Rain at the 3rd base. Again, this has all been off 3 base for Protoss. You can see how much they can do from those 3 bases. He's been trying to limit True to 3 bases. Contamination on a lot of things, plus 3 weapons is just so close to finishing, so that contamination really hurts Rain in this situation.
Well, this is a great play by True. True knows he's not going to have the key versatility he needs to succeed in the late game, so he's got to start winning the economy game with counterattacks. Zerglings have eviscerated the defenses at the 2nd, at the 3rd, and it's very unclear who is ahead or behind right now. I mean, in terms of the just basic supply, True is definitely ahead, but Rain has a power army that's extremely good against this composition. I mean, True has a lot of infestors he's been hiding this game.
Yeah, notice how during all of that, it was only Lings really putting on that counter pressure. He's actually going to go for a big engagement, though. The Lings trying to do some damage here, but a big fungal, as well as blinding clouds on top of that. The Ultralists cleaving up so much of this army. Great fungals, GG.
Oh my God! Fungal blinding cloud. Rain's army literally unable to fire at all. All the supply and the Zerglings used for counters to buy time. I mean, this scenario right here shows that True is doing something very new, very cool, and obviously extremely effective. I mean, he didn't get the 4th ever and relied on only Zerglings to win that game.
That was very interesting, that game. Overall, True aiming for this extremely formidable composition, whereas if you land a fungal, everything's going to die, because there's going to be a blinding cloud on top of it. There's going to be cleaving Ultralisks on top of it. Very, very scary thing to deal with. But I can't help but feel that Rain played out his tech game very, very slow in that game, in that as a whole. And I think if it maybe had been propelled forwards a little bit after that gateway push hadn't have worked, obviously setting itself behind a little bit during that, it could have been a different story.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely Rain's struggle for building momentum, because, you know, your first 2 Colossus are generally used to keep you alive, but then when you start getting to 4 or even 6 Colossus, I mean, this is where the Zerg is terrified to engage you at all, and you can put the pressure on, and you can put Zerg on the back foot. But the decision to say, well, wait a minute, if you were behind on tech, that means you're going to be devoting all your money to going for tech. You are not going to be devoting a lot of your money to defense. The Zergling counterattacks all over the place just picked everything down, and this bought enough time for just 3 bases worth of gas to get Ultras, Vipers, Infestors, and a whole bunch of upgrades. I mean, that was really sexy play from True.
Yeah, it was. And to me, the way Rain opened wasn't very Rain-esque. I do feel that he has been deviating up his player just a little bit and like mixing in some aggressive things. He lost that first Oracle so easily, even after, of course it did kill like 9 or 10 workers, but it died. That's the big problem. If it had been alive, still have been threatening, maybe cause True to invest a little bit more in his anti-air with the second Oracle as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard with the way that Rain opened to evaluate how the next map on Merry-Go-Round is going to play out, because like you said, I mean, Rain losing the first Oracle, obviously a huge deficit, but then to just kind of go, I'm just going to 7-gate blink, come on, let's do this. And when you saw the 7-gate blink, it wasn't really slowed down. It wasn't really delayed at all. You just got crushed by having not nearly enough units. I mean, that 7-gate blink did nothing at all to True. Yeah, so I mean, something just as simple and common as taking 3 gates, getting the Forge, and then just expanding. I think this is the Rain that is going to be much stronger against True.
All right, well, we're going to get into Game 2 in just a little bit, but before we do that, we're going to go to a short break, and then we'll be back at the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose. Welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose. Day 1 here for the weekend in the SAP Center, as we have currently 1-0 to True, looking pretty good. That Zergling that got in and was able to spot the Twilight Council as well as Gates, very good.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, it's the same way that Sauron, who's all-powerful, was just taken down by 2 hobbits. Easy. That's that Ling. That was the Frodo Ling, who you didn't... I'm going to stop this analogy immediately. True.
Wait, what?
Very sharp with doing... It's just those little tiny touches that get you ahead. Those little tiny touches. The movement with the Oracle. What other Zerg goes, oh no, I'm being attacked. Quickly, send a Ling immediately into his base because his Stalker might be out of position. That is the sign of a real pro.
Yeah, very, very well done there by True. He reacted pretty nicely, and his game plan was so very evident to get to that ultimate composition that he had at the end to absolutely brutalize Rain. So going into game number 2 now, I'm a little bit... I'm under the impression what we'll see is a triple hatch before pool again, because of 3-player maps, it's become so common. And if True is willing to do it on 1 versus 1 maps, then there's no reason he wouldn't really do it on a triple up. Unless he's scared that Rain is willing to really try and exploit that this game. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, if your third's hard to take, Protoss says, well, the only way to secure a third is to have a lot of stuff. And the best way to get a lot of stuff is to go Nexus first. That is what allows Zerg players to go for that 3 hatch so easily every time. And what's so cool is what you just said, that True had this clear end game in his mind that is very different from the end game of the normal Zerg player. So I mean, when we're looking at that last game, I'm asking, like, how is he going to take that and go to the normal play? How is he going to transition that into the normal play? How? And the answer is, he has his own plan. Very cool to see.
All right, spawning up to the top left-hand corner, currently 1 game up in this best of 3. It's our blue Zerg. Representing Dead Pixels, it is True.
And down in the bottom corner, the pride of Rotterdam, Todd, but not Apollo. If you'd like to see him tie it up, give a cheer for My Insanity's Rain!
You're totally right with what you said before. A very, very clear game plan. You see it from the very beginning of a game of a Zerg when True is going for melee upgrades and having a lot of Zerglings. If you're going for melee upgrades, slowly it's building up to that big, bulky Ultralisk coming along and cleaving everything to bits. And it's a really nice to see, really nice to see.
And I mean, if you think about the sentences that come out of Zerg players' mouths for a moment, Kalaris.
Okay.
I want you to imagine a Zerg mouth and him saying things like, oh, I can transition to Mutalisks. Oh, Infestors would be a good answer to that. Vipers would help me deal with the Colossus. These are gas heavy. So the reason the 4th base is normally so critical in this matchup is you need the gas to do any of those sentences. But True is able to go, well, wait, no. How can I win with minerals? What can I do as a mineral-focused game plan? And the way that he's using the Zerglings is, in my eyes, the highlight of his ZVP.
Yeah, definitely. It's all too easy to get stuck in this one-track mind as a Zerg if you want to go up to that Ultralisk-based play, to rush there and be like, I really need a lot of gas, I really want those Ultralisks out, they're really cool, I love how they look. But he didn't. He was taking into account the fact that Rain was putting on a very aggressive style and accounting for these kinds of things. And, well, it's looking like we're going to see very, very similar openers once again from both of these guys, aside from the fact that it's just a little bit slower's worth of a Nexus. So there is the potential here for Rain to do something even more aggressive in this game than he did in the previous one.
Yeah. We also see the drone is scouted. It sees the gateway down. Now, ordinarily, you'd say, man, you got to go get the pool immediately. Whoa! Oh, yes. Oh, my God, that's so awesome. Now, the sentence I was going to say was that you would think that you can't go 3 hatch before pool. You absolutely can against someone who goes gateway first like this. You are safe against that. This, though, is way cooler than anything I ever would have said.
It's really greedy. It's still triple hatch before pull, just in a different sense of the word.
Yeah.
He gets in and actually sees even the gas going down before the spawning pool, so it's very, very greedy. This is, of course, going to slow down the Nexus for quite a long time, and Rain is going to have to account for that. The only thing I'm scared about now is for True is if Rain decides to, because Warp Gate is already on the way, if he decides to Chrono Boost into that a lot and then commit to a gateway pressure, is True going to be able to hold off against it?
Well, I feel like, Rain is putting his hand face up. He's pulling 4 probes in addition to his initial one, because this is about the rate that you need to be able to kill this off before it hatches and spreads creep. True is going to be able to do a cancel, rebuild the evolution chamber, being as annoying as humanly possible.
And does he get over 400 minerals? He does, so still opportunity cost is being lost there, despite the fact that there's 2 gates up front. But obviously, True knows that there is the potential for aggression on the way. Gets speed down, double queens obviously coming out, needs those lava inject to be there, but I wouldn't even mind extra queens off the back of this, just to make sure that you're well and truly sturdy here.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that we saw out of Life endlessly at BlizzCon and at many of his other events. Just get a lot of queens so you can devote all your larvae to droning. Oh my God, that's so sexy. He's trying to load it right on it. Oh! He still hasn't lost any?
Did he not lose a single one?
Did he not? Nothing.
What? All right, okay. Maybe Apollo's kind of right. That was pretty good. Here's the pylon down now for the 4th gateway being added. So as I was saying before, there's always the potential for Rain to mix these kind of things in. And What is that up to the top? Is that the mothership core still being? Yeah, okay, so at least that didn't die all during all of this.
It's on an incredible journey.
Yeah.
Typically, what we see out of Protoss players here is they will do several rounds of warp in before moving down, because when you're low on larva, which is the case in this game, finally we see a case where Zerg is doing normal things, or more old school things. We see that when you're low on larva, it's harder to respond quickly, so the Protoss player waits until there's just too much stuff. And this is interesting with sentries too.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of Lings on the way, as True was accounting for the potential of this happening, but this is going to be a little bit difficult to hold here. More Lings are on the way, and he's going to send some for the counterattack straight. There is a sentry there to buy some time at that wall, but this is
wow. This is massive, and look at this, an uncontested rebuttal. We see a beautiful warp in. Just a sensational timing there by Rain.
Oh, and even saves the Zealot during all of that. That was really nicely done.
Well, he's going to pull back the weakened one, insert the healthy one, and we see that this push is going to keep going as long as that mothership core is alive.
Yep. Zealots are a pretty good unit, and Rain's going to make full use of them here. He still has a lot of force fields available to him. Those Lings at the back, if he traps those out, that would be very, very nice as a start here, but he certainly wants to keep that pylon alive. Needs to reinforce at the front as quickly as he can do. All the pylons at the back are probably going to end up dying off thanks to the Zerglings being super, super fast.
The push continues. We see probes being produced. No geysers down yet for Rain. He is just looking for a chance to make probes. Look at the production tab. All Lings, and then probes getting built. So this is a chance to equalize the economy. This is nice. He can force field, but he misses the opportunity. What's going on? What's going on?
A few transfusions. Oh, forces the recall out. And I've got to say, once again, what we were saying before, there is the potential for Rain to do something aggressive, and adding on more queens is something that is very, very powerful. You already mentioned it. Life is doing it a lot against San-esque builds, 4-gate pressures. It's the perfect response to be able to deal with this, because transfuses keep them alive for so long, whilst you've got good Lings for backup.
And equalizing the worker count. Robo coming up. Forge has to be very soon. Now let's talk a little bit about the next follow-up game plans. Normally, what a typical Zerg player would consider is going for something more Hydralisk focused, because there's generally going to be more gateway units and less high-tech units. But here we see Rain continuing to apply pressure.
And True's also just wiggling around at the front, looking to see if he can find any holes. At least all of this is keeping Rain's army on his side of the map, right? So very, very difficult for Rain to really do a whole lot here, because again, he's very, very low in tech. It's kind of annoying for him. True, of course, has been slowed down in economy. He's still only on 2 base, trying to get that 3rd base just established now. But as it stands, I like where True is in this game.
Yeah, I mean, with the number of Zerglings True has, he has tremendous versatility. He is still adding on queens. I mean, what's the queen count at True at? Is he at 5, 6, 8? Nope, he's at 8.
So many transfuses are going to be banked up, Sean. So many.
And the counterattack at the front, I mean, with this many Lings, this is going to force a huge response. This Ling usage is incredible.
Really good wall off to keep this out, but he needs even the force fields expended. This army on the north position near that 3rd base. Maybe the 3rd base will die off, sure, but overall, with the Roaches and Lings just kind of slowly mounting up across this 2 base against what seems just like a standard Immortal push from here on out, he's got so many queens available to him. Roaches technically don't even have to die during this push.
I mean, this is the cool Zerg style we are seeing be the modern Zerg player. Heavy queen, slower tech, and using those Zerglings to do all the hard work, to do all the heavy lifting. Now we're seeing Rain. I mean, wait, does Rain have... Is it no energy or full energy on that mothership core?
It must be full if it's not showing on these damage health bars, which is nice, at least a few time warps here once this goes along. But of course, sometimes if you get into a sticky situation, you might want to actually recall out.
Looks like he's trying to maybe get some queens, but it's going to have to be a recall right here, right now.
It's a really weird choice here by Rain, because he has those Immortals back at home. He's trying to apply pressure with a chunk of his army, but he needs everything consolidated. He needs everything together to be able to have that true power punch towards that 3rd base.
This is a sickeningly cool style from True. I mean, 3 Immortals. God, that's a lot of sentries. Oh my God, is that a lot of sentries. But with this many queens, he's making 3 more. That's going to bring him up to 11, 12, 13. He has just endless streams of queens coming out. He's going to be up at 14 queens.
I'm a little, well, unless the queens are able to hold the line, I'm a little bit scared. If the force fields land and section off some of the queens to be able to kill them off against the zealot wall, then that could be kind of scary. He needs just a big warp in the zealots, really, to be able to make this work.
Oh no, the mothership core goes down. That means that there is no possibility of retreat. Rain is committed to this attack, and frankly, Rain needs to make sure that his proxy pylons stay alive and that he can commit to this attack. Otherwise, this is going to be whittled down. The force fields right now, excellent, but the queen arc is a little bit strong. The Zerglings are starting to wrap around from the backside, and Rain is forced to pull back.
Yeah, the zealots at the front really need to be getting on top of this, but again, with this amount of power that are behind the queens, behind the extra roaches that are even down to the side as well, it's going to be a little bit difficult. He used a lot of force fields there. Of course, there's a lot of sentries with a few more force fields left to the name, but as long as there's good transfuse, as long as the queens don't get caught on the right-hand side of that hatchery and the kind of concave for him is screwed up a little bit, it should be okay.
I mean, this is the modern Zerg player. Screw Hydras, screw layer tech even. Is there even a layer? I mean, right now, it's just endless hatch tech units. Oh, those are nice force fields on the south side. They need to keep coming down.
Yeah.
Are there enough sentries?
He really needed to divide and conquer, and he has done down to that south side. Getting the queens on the left would be very, very important here. If you can bring down that longevity of this army, it might be able to work out. A few more links trying to get around on this right-hand side, but the zealots on the left have pushed back a lot of those queens as well, and the 3 immortals are still alive, Sean.
And now the weakened right flank is about to be reinforced with zealots. Is Rain going to be able to pull this off? This was a brilliantly executed series of force fields. We see the counterattack from True getting slowly whittled away, the addition of 8 gateways. The third's gonna fall. The queens are low on energy, and being as huge and beefy as they are, they're the perfect targets to get zoned with force fields.
Yeah, the third base ends up falling. 88 army supply against 30. Rain makes this immortal push, and I want to go on the limb and say that it's a little bit of a different one, because he was always threatening with his army, always threatening that third base, never really let True kind of take the pedal off unit production, and never really let him get to the economy position he wanted to be in against this massive force now that is absolutely ransacking this natural base. Killed the third before. There is nothing left here for True.
Brilliant judgment calls from Rain. Back to back to back in a game that looked lost. Rain puts himself back on the map and is not going to go down 0-2 in his first match.
Really, really well done there. It kind of looked a little bit dire at the beginning with how his economy was working out and the 4-gate. It eventually got that third hatchery, which was nice, but True was willing to make so many queens that I thought the defense would be very strong, and in the end, Rain cut that up nicely.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those battles where I think it's less about what the build order was leading into it and more about what the tactics were throughout the course of it. There were opportunities to hit from the back, from the side. That was a long battle. That was like a 2.5 minute long fight. And I think you pointed out the key moment so clearly when there was a beautiful concave, but in the middle of the concave was the hatchery.
Exactly.
You need, as a Zerg player, to be so careful about that. And it's so hard against a player as talented as Rain, who's shoving you back. Once Rain had that hatch in the middle, he force fields one side, and the hatch acts as a large permanent force field. The top side was able to get chewed up. And even though I love True's style, I mean, a player like Rain can exploit that so nicely.
Yeah, it looked really good. Really, really good there. Aside from, again, all the small discrepancies of the early game there, the mid-game for Rain looked powerful because, again, he always kept threatening. It was very, very difficult to True to really stabilize and get a sense of normality back in his game.
And with that second match over, we are tied 1-1 going into one of the smallest maps in the history of competitive StarCraft 2. It's going to be on Overgrowth. When we come back, it's the final game of the first match of the first day here at IEM San Jose.
Welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose. We are gridlocked. It's 1-1 between these two players. And now we move on to the third game. Overgrowth's going to be our map here, Sean, to find out who is moving on, actually, into the round of 8.
And I would expect this to be the biggest map of comfort for Rain. We've seen him already do some nutty stuff in Game 2, or I guess be faced against nutty stuff with the hatch going down there in Game 1, going for the Oracle into Blink all-in. Overgrowth is a map where it's too safe to go for 3 base plays. Going for the 2 base plays don't really have a lot of windows of opportunity that are as strong, other than just the small distances. So I feel like True is going to be way over-prepared for any basic close distance push.
Yeah, he's looked very defensively minded, especially in that second game, which I guess overall kind of came back to haunt him because he just wasn't in the economical standing that he really wanted to be. And again, you can argue that at the third base, hatchery, big force field, so kind of annoying for him. But anyway, game number 3 is on the way here. I wouldn't mind seeing a big, long macro game out of Rain here. I wouldn't mind seeing him test his mettle and really trying to say to True, well, I'm one of the best macro Protoss on the world, my friend.
Yeah, and we've seen Rain again and again and again plan to begin attacking when Zerg is at 4 or 5 bases. When Zerg has that many bases, the Zerg, who has an expansion at the bottom right, can get warp-ined at the bottom left in the main, and so on and so forth.
All right. Let's get into it then, as we have spawning up to the top right-hand corner. It is our blue Zerg, representing dead pixels. It is True.
And in the bottom left-hand corner, he's been reinventing his play as of late, but does it have the stable touch to let him advance through to the round of 8? It is My Insanity's Rain!
All right, 1 apiece. Yeah, going into this final map, and Rain is not changing it up. He's going to go for Gateway expansion once again. A lot of Protoss have found comfort in this, but a lot of Zergs have said, everyone's at Gateway expanding nowadays. I can go for triple hatch before pool and be totally fine.
Yeah, it was a dark time for Zergs. When, thinking too defensively minded, again, gets you in so much trouble. Obviously at the levels that people like to joke about, where, you see 10 cannons at the ramp and then, max out on carriers and then take your second base. But the same concept still extends here, where being too defensive gets you in tons of trouble. And this actually surprises me. I would fully expect for Rain to go Nexus and then Gateway. And instead he's going Gateway first. What do you make of that?
I think with the Gateway and then into the Probe Scout, it does put True a little bit on edge here, and seeing this Probe might actually force him to not go for the triple hatch against the Gateway opener, because he doesn't know what's on the other side of the map, right? And seeing this Probe, you've got to be a little bit apprehensive about what's going on, so this might force True to go for the spawning pool before that triple hatch.
Yeah, also the basic Forge plays are so strong on this map. Excuse me, the Cannon Rush plays. Now, Rain is going for his Nexus now, but he gets the Gateway first. So when I see this is the sort of play where you can get a Cybernetics core just a teensy bit faster than if you go Nexus Gateway.
It's so cool to see True actually go for triple hatch, even though, despite the Probe being out there and him trailing it with 4 drones at one point, because he's just calling his bluff. He's like, well, you haven't done anything with this at this particular time? That's fine then, I'm just going to go for my usual standard go-to. And an interesting pylon, because there's no Forge there.
Well, he could actually use the Forge as part of the wall-off.
Yeah, he could. It would take a little while in the end. The Cybernetics core is going to go down at the in the main base as well, and in the end, once again, Rain trying to call True's bluff doesn't really work out. It wasn't even seen anyway, so he's going to have to leave that for now.
Yeah, for any of you trying to learn, whatever you do, don't try to put a Forge as part of the cannon wall off. I said that with a little bit too serious of a tone, but there's a time and a place for that, and it's
not here.
Yeah, it's not when you are at the finals, the final event. So we see a relatively fast Cybernetics core. It's going to pop out. Stalker right away. Love that choice to just get that Overlord out of the main base so the sneaky tech can come in. No. Cancels the Stalker for the instant Stargate.
Wow. I wonder actually if the Overlord spotted the Stalker being cancelled, because it was in range of it, and now he pokes back in, and he might be thinking along the line, well, okay.
Oh!
True.
Twoo.
Oh, well.
This is the sort of...
What is this? Okay.
He's so watchful. He's so perceptive. He keeps seeing that the gateway's not doing anything, and there he spots the Stargate.
Perfect. Yeah, I think all of that starting and cancelling really may have tipped off True there as to, well, what on earth is really going on behind all of this? Does spot that Stargate. That's nice. At least the Zealot somehow worked its way over here, and even then won't get a... If the Mothership couldn't have got a single drone in the past game, I'm not sure that Zealot's going to get one.
Oh, Phoenixes, love it. This, I mean, okay, I love Stargate plays. You get the Phoenix, you get to see the whole map. That's great. Transition into Colossus. You can kill things with lasers. Also great. It just means that you are going for the long haul win. But True has the ability to make all these extra queens, the ability to abandon Roach Ling production early, the ability to just build another hatch incredibly soon. I mean, we can see a fourth base go down long before 10 minutes.
Very interesting that first Phoenix went out to the right-hand side to clear that up before actually getting the Overlord in the main base on the left. So he's really adamant about getting the Overlord over towards his third base, which might signify the idea of going for a pretty fast third base here with the Forge on the way and the cannon to be able to solidify that.
Yeah, I mean, it's generally a strong move to just send those Phoenixes out gung-ho to the farther locations first, because the close Overlords, you're thinking, dude, these close Overlords are guaranteed to die. I want to get more than just 2 or 3 kills. So the fact that Rain is sending those out really, to me, signals he does want to go for a long-term play. He does want to try to just deal direct damage to Zerg, and is not worried about being, sneaky with his strategy. Rain is basically playing face-up right now.
Already so defensive. Already cannon going down at the front just to make sure nothing crazy is going to go on there. Prolonged Phoenix production, getting himself a few drones as well, which is a nice start, but certainly doesn't want to be losing that Phoenix in the middle of that pack. Ooh.
Pretty close call, but that's pretty common for Rain. Nothing but close calls all day. Phoenix production, believe, is going to halt at 5. We don't see any more. 5 is a nice... It's just a pretty little number that allows you to pick up the queens.
Wait, why are there 3 evolution chambers? Interesting. Right now, I can only assume it's a mistake, unless he starts upgrading all 3 upgrades, and then I'm the happiest man in the world.
Yeah, that's going to be mega macro style. I mean, right now, Rain is just trying to deal damage. This is very common with Phoenixes. If you look at the units lost tab, it is a lot to a little. It looks like 25 just from canceling a building. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of an optical illusion. The fact of the matter is that Rain's Phoenixes do not have lots of long-term value, but they obviously have a lot of immediate value.
He's got all 3 upgrades going at the same time, Sean.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. And the other one is hidden. What is going on? This is madness.
Well, the Phoenixes are going to pull out, still dealing guaranteed damage. I mean, Rain might very well just be going for... I mean, he has to go for a macro hatch if this is the case. He is going to be burning all of his gas on 222 upgrades. He's not going to have enough to go for the, more expensive units like Mutalisks or Hydralisks or any such things in large numbers. So he's got to be getting an extra macro hatch soon. This is a style of play that I'll just say that we really never see.
Yeah. I mean, overall, the interesting thing about what True is doing is because he's much into these upgrades, of course there's 24 links on the way now, but normally that kind of flood of links would go down there a little bit earlier. He's invested so much into his upgrades, his evolution chambers, that hits a little bit slower at the third base, and I don't think it's really going to do anything. So the big, huge long-term plan, I mean, Rain has just seen the 3rd evolution chamber. What? He has to be thinking something a little bit funky is going on.
Yeah, I mean, everything in StarCraft is not about the units that you see and which units work well against what other units are going on. It's about what's going on with the resources. And if all your gas is going into upgrades, what's your mineral play? It appears to be queens. Huge numbers of queens for True. It looks like this range upgrade is not for roaches, it's not for hydras, it's for the queens to get a huge boost against the Colossus. Who needs corruptors when you got queens in those numbers?
I was going to say, as soon as I saw 3 extra queens in production, and this is crazy because queens for long range, to actually hit Colossi are actually not that bad. They actually hit them in this weird anti-air state, which they actually have a lot of range on them. So not only are the Queens going to be bringing those down, but Corruptors as well. This could work out really, really scary.
It looks like it's a 1-1-1 timing push with Mass Queen. And as much as I was joking about the no need for Corruptors, well, it looks like 11 Corruptors is going to be the choice. We see Roaches flooding in. We see the 4th base done for True. No one mining from it yet. And these numbers, these supply numbers are huge. This isn't just 3 hatches that have been churning out larvae. The hatches have been building queens too.
Okay, so Hallucinated Colossus, but he has to be doing that. What a great set of force fields to be able to trap a lot of those lings in. The Colossi are the linchpin. They need to survive, but there's going to be so much threatening them very, very soon that if they do not keep alive and it's a big flood of lings and roaches forwards with this, it's going to get very, very scary. There's so much transfuse energy left on these queens as well.
I mean, look at this. He's going to sit here. He's going to tank the damage. Now that the Colossus are down, the damage dealt will not be high at all, and this gives True the chance to attack the natural expansion. He can push in the front. He can push in the sides. He can hit from so many angles, and Rain now caught with no AoE damage. I mean, but does Rain's macro have enough momentum to let him stay alive here?
That push for True would have been so much stronger if he'd have kept a lot of those links alive that got caught by those 2 force fields, but still, he is putting on a lot of pressure. The extra force fields from Rain are good. They're actually holding that a lot off. But again, there's no sense of Colossi. They're not going to be able to do anything anytime soon. He lost a lot of queens during this as well. He's trying to keep this few roaches alive, but this could have packed extra punch if things had gone a little bit differently.
A very cute push from True. Fumbles at the last moment, and we've seen Rain again not prepare to transition now, but he has already set up his next move. Zealot Charge is done. He has +2 attack and +1 armor. He can go for a mass gateway style with a ton of power.
I'm so sad for True. That could have been a phenomenal push. It really could have been, but it's not quite worked out just yet. He's still going to have to deal with the follow-ups from Rain, which, again, that Warp Prism on the right-hand side, that by the looks of things right now is going completely unnoticed. This could cause a lot of damage, considering how many queens he lost, so his defensive capabilities aren't exactly as strong as they used to be.
And now True is just going to be in defensive hell. He doesn't have space control units. There's no mutas. There's not going to be any mutas. It's going to be all roaches, lings. The Corruptors need to find that Warp Prism fast. Without the ability to force away the Warp Prism, True cannot attack anymore in this match.
Blink on the way, +3 and +2 going down. Rain having adapted with the double forge style over the back of seeing his opponent having so many evolution chambers earlier on is a nice little touch to this, and I can't believe that sneaky guy.
Oh no, wow, an uncharacteristic misstep there from True to not be watching the minimap then. I mean, this is a beautiful transition into an ultra gateway heavy, ultra upgrade heavy style from Rain, getting the Immortals to deal with the roaches. I mean, there's no infestors. There's no way this is going to be able to break.
He's going to focus down the layer here, unless the drones come offline to be able to do something about that. The entirety of his army is on the other side of the map, so this layer probably will end up falling. Those Zerglings really have nothing to answer for it at all. And off the backside, how are those roaches really going to be able to fare? As long as the force fields are good, this is really going to hurt.
True trying to set himself up a flank. Immediately, Rain cuts off the left side, but Burrowed Roaches stepping up on up. We see it's still 1-1-1 Roaches versus the 2-1 upgrades of Rain, and it's just a matter of numbers now. The Roaches try to step in, the Immortals dealing too much punch, and True is overrun.
Yeah, that wasn't really going to work out there in the end. The layer falls as well, a really good pickup here. Yeah, those Zealots could even turn around and go onto those evolution chambers that are so close to finishing their upgrades, but it doesn't look like they're going to take the opportunity. The blinks forwards, the pursuit of True here as he is scrambling for the defense.
I mean, Rain, a man known for defense, but also you can't understate how beautiful this transition was. The instant that attack fell, we got Speed Zealots that are eviscerating the main. We have a push stepping forward. We have Speed Zealots hitting the left, and 3-2 upgrades are almost done.
Did he? I think he actually cancelled the 2-2 in the end, didn't he? Because he wanted actually more units out. He got a few Swarm Hosts in the production tab, so he needs those as the defensive capabilities. And seeing True go to the Swarm Host here, for me, is real desperation. He needs some way of buying time against this army that Rain is pushing forwards with, and Zealots on the left-hand side as well. What a great little move here by Rain to try and eke out the rest of this game.
I mean, just with great force fields again and again, great positioning. The main has fallen. The fourth is about to fall. The natural expansion expansion is about to fall. And True, even though he set up the beautiful timing attack, we're seeing this is what makes Rain one of the kings of the Pro League. That defense, he held on,
Yeah.
and without any incredible flair, Rain is now ripping True to pieces.
I still got to go back to those 2 force fields, catching all of those Zerglings. If everything had came in at just the right time for True, that push could have been absolutely terrifying. But Rain, in the end, he holds strong, killing off Roach after Roach. He's almost doubling his opponent's supply. GG! Rain is able to advance on to the round of 8.
Rain, obviously a very popular player due to setting so many of the, standard play admirers. It's just so, with such little flair. I mean, I feel almost bad for saying that, but True was the guy who was building hatches at the front, doing the queen timing pushes, and Rain was the one just building standard-looking units at the standard-looking times, but making no errors.
Yeah, very, very cool series. Overall, not exactly the most conventional series either.
Yeah.
Certainly not with a 3 evolution chamber play at the end there for True to try and eke out that last game, but in the end, it didn't all tie up nicely.
And this is, I think, just the quiet strength of Rain, where I feel like a player like Hero or SOS is very memorable the first time you see SOS walling you in with his proxy gateway attack. I mean, these sorts of plays like rushing for Tempest, doing all sorts of kooky plays. That's what gets you remembered, but a lot of times it doesn't give you consistency. And that is what we were seeing out of Rain throughout. How do you prepare against a 1-1-1 Mass Queen Corruptor timing push? You don't really practice that. You can practice it from True's point of view, but for Rain, just seeing that and feeling his way through it, so elegant.
Yeah, very, very well done. And on a map like Overgrowth, where you have that kind of comfort of knowing you've played probably 1,000 games on that map after all of this time, Rain, yeah, he hit his stride there in that last game. It was very nice to see.
So that means that True will be falling down to the lower bracket. For those of you unfamiliar with the IEM group structure, it is not a round robin group style. The groups are played out like mini double elimination bracket. We're starting off today with the winner's bracket game. That winner is Rain. He will advance on now to the round of 8. And as True falls, he will be playing against the winner of Huck and Snoot.
Yeah, which I believe is being played on the B stream, or may even have already finished, which means the next match technically coming up on our stream will be True going up against the winner of that match.
And I mean, as we've seen from True, he is anything but a typical player. He'll build hatches wherever he wants, and there's going to be lots and lots and lots of queens. And I mean, I gotta say, the queen is just such an underexplored unit in all these build orders.
Even now, like 4 or 5 years almost now into StarCraft, you see these kinds of pushes that are just not commonplace, but they do have the ability to not only take people by surprise, but also they can pack a lot of punch if they're executed correctly. Sadly for True, didn't quite work out in that instance.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope we get to see more queen play out of True. I mean, again, Snoot doesn't play Protoss, so there's that likelihood that goes on there. But I mean, the queen just it doesn't interfere with your larva. It doesn't, it reinforces so many mid-game armies so well with the transfuse, but again, the problem is that they're so slow off creep that it's almost impossible to do any consistent attacking with them, unless you get 8 of them started real early and you plan to attack 2 minutes after that.
Pretty scary stuff. All right, I think that does it from us here at the caster's desk. That means we can go and hear from the winner, Rain, with an interview with Smix.
Thank you very much, Colaris. Congratulations, Rain, on advancing first out of your group with that 2-1 victory over True. I first need to ask, because I saw you yesterday, and you actually were in a bit of pain. You had a stomach ache, and I'm wondering, are you feeling better now? It seems you are, since you advanced first in your group. 네, 일단 첫 질문은 어저께 좀 컨디션도 안 좋아 보이고 배도 아프다고 했는데 오늘은 컨디션 어떠세요? 우리가 볼 때는 좋아 보이는데.
사실 어제 소화가 잘 안 돼가지고 비행기 또 오래 타고 해가지고 며칠간 똥을 못 쌌어요. 그래서 좀 힘들었는데 그래도 경기 날 아픈 게 아니라 전날 아파서 다행이었고 지금은 괜찮은 것 같아요.
So, Rain says, actually, you're right. I was suffering with a little bit of indigestion, and I had been suffering with actual constipation for a few days after I got off my plane ride. I hadn't been able to use the bathroom, so it was actually really bothering me, but thankfully I went through the indigestion on the day before my match. So today I'm obviously feeling a lot better and I'm okay now. Now, let's jump right into talking about your game against True. What is it like to prepare against a player like True who has a very different ZVP style compared to other Zerg players? 일단 이제 방태수 선수로 상대를 앞두고 어떻게 준비를 하셨나요? 왜냐면 그 선수는 이제 그 토스전을 좀 다른 저그 선수들보다 다르게 하잖아요. 그래서 준비를 하는데 좀 어려운 부분이 있었나요?
우선 태수가 좀 확실히 다른 적이랑은 달라가지고 좀 VOD도 많이 챙겨보고 했는데 그래도 태수랑 좀 레더에서 많이 했거든요, 한국에서. 근데 거기서 했던 거와는 그렇게 다르지 않게 해가지고 제가 좀 태수의 변칙적인 수를 제가 잘 알고 있어가지고 그나마 다행이었어요. 잘 할 수 있었던 것 같아요.
So Rain says, for sure, he does have a very different style, but thankfully I've been able to play against him in ladder. I also watched a lot of his VODs, and through that, even in my games against him here today, he didn't play much differently than he does on ladder. So I was able to kind of predict how he would play, try to come up with builds that would go well against his, and thankfully that worked extremely well, and I think that's why I was able to beat him 2-1. Now, Rain, you're here at this SAP Arena here in San Jose. You just advanced first in your group. How are you feeling right now watching in front of all of these fans? 일단 이제 그 조에서는 1등으로 진출을 하셨고 막 이제 경기장에 오셨잖아요. 되게 큰 경기장인데 이 팬분 앞에서 경기를 이기고 기분이 어떠세요 지금?
사실 조 1이라고 하긴 하는데 방금 솔직히 태수랑 할 때 경기력이 제가 너무 안 좋아가지고 아직 좀 저기 무대 적응도 잘 안 되고 해가지고 지금 빨리 다시 가서 연습을 열심히 해야 될 것 같아요. 그냥 좋긴 좋았어요. 1위로 올라와서.
So a few things. Yes, I did advance first out of my group, but I'm not used to playing on this big stage yet in front of you guys. So I feel like I'll have to spend a little bit more time adjusting to the stage. And even in my games against True, I did not feel like I showed my 100% gameplay. So I definitely feel like I'm going to have to go back to that practice room and warm up a little bit more and get my feel back. And hopefully when I'm back on this stage, I'll be able to show a much better game for you guys. Well, congratulations again, Rain, on advancing. We are going to head back to the studio desk. So Red Eye, back to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Sue. And yes, welcome back to the stage, where the stage desk, where there are a couple of gentlemen who are quite happy.
That is right.
I'm in a great mood. Yeah, thanks, Red Eye. I can't be right all the time, boys. I can't be right all the time.
But
and I am right a lot.
Just once, Apollo.
All right, in all seriousness,
yeah.
I know you all three of you are looking at me and everyone back there is as well.
Keep me out of this. I'm not the Protoss player.
Okay, I know you two are looking at me. But that series was a lot closer than the results.
Okay,
I mean, the results kind of 2-1, but
absolutely,
it was very close.
And let's break it down, because in game one, I sat with Todd watching it, and Todd said, "Oh my God, what's he doing building a pylon there? Roddy would build better pylons than that. What's he doing?" He did. He actually said that. So, what went wrong for Rain from your point of view, and what went right for True?
You guys can start up.
In the first game, yeah, I felt like he was making mistakes he usually wouldn't make.
I mean, he said he was nervous, didn't he? So
yeah, mistakes that you will see on Roddy's stream, not necessarily from Rain. You know, I thought for a moment, like my only explanation was maybe the auto-discurs, but then he explained he had some stomach problems, so maybe also that makes sense. But then he picked up right away from the second game, played a lot better, and I mean that last game was very close too. You know, the initial hold against the Corruptors. And in the end, logic win, I guess, here for Rain.
I thought it was a pretty cool series by True. I think he definitely showed a very fun style with all these queens. He's always running around, even in games which we would say this is a low economic game because of the way that everything opened up and stuff. Suddenly you do still see all these Zerglings running around and he's always posing a threat. But I feel like those are things that work, you can get away with it once or twice. But a player like Rain is going to be more careful. He's going to pick up on it. Still though, that final game also close. Came down to force fields, came down to a couple
positioning
of immortals
as well.
Yep. Also the 11 Corruptors, like, they scared me. I was like, man, if he makes a second or a third Colossus, it's not going to matter. They will still die, and then the Roaches and Lynx will overrun it. So I do agree with Sean. The series was a little closer than Johan and me said it was going to be. And I actually think that's a good thing for Rain as well. He wins, and he won't be able to beat, or he doesn't have to worry about True until perhaps the final, but that's a long way off.
Yeah, indeed. He had a chance, True. First game looked very good. I mean, admittedly, these guys have said it. Ray made some sloppy play, a little bit of change that he probably shouldn't have done. But True, he took advantage of that.
Yeah, both players were making mistakes throughout the entire series. That's very easily safe to say. Game 1, we'll just put that aside as you've talked about it. Game 2 could have actually ended 2-0. After you do and slow down the Protoss that much, if he dealt and not lost that third hatchery, which he did, the game is easily in True's favor and the game goes on. And he could have taken it 2-0. Yep. In the third game as well, when we saw all those Zerglings get trapped, if you design a push, the way that he played, he didn't build Spore Crawlers, he messed up Queens, he knew exactly what to do against Phoenix Colossus, he had a timing ready to go, he pushed out with his Queens, he had his Corruptors not too far away, lots of Zerglings supporting this. If he actually attacks this correctly, it looks like it could win. But he lost all his Zerglings before everything was all ready to go. Then the Queens were kind of left alone, the Corruptors a little bit, but it was just not a very good attack. If it was right, I think it could have won the game there as well.
But it was still really smart by Rain to stop producing Colossus immediately. I'm not sure if he ever started Thermal Lens, but he definitely didn't research it at that point. He went to Immortals immediately. He's like, okay, well, I know I'm not going to be able to protect these Colossus right now. That's just not going to happen. But if I make Immortals, I will actually stabilize on the ground. And then, well, you have 11 Corruptors and they can't do anything. So,
and that's what True was not really ready for either. I mean, he went over to Roaches expecting Colossus to stay in the game, as that's what you usually do. You don't really switch to Immortals very often. So good play from Rain. Very close series overall, though.
Yeah, very, very close indeed. We are going to check in with the bracket right now and show you how the other game went out. If you want to watch these, they are on the B stream, thanks to Maddles. They are going on right now and throughout the day. Snoot was the victor of the lower bracket game. Huck, unfortunately, falling to 4th place in Group A. It does mean we're going to get a rematch. As we expected and as Roddy predicted, Snoot versus True will be our next game in this Group A, and it will decide the second man out of the group. No real surprises there. I mean, Huck maybe taking a map is a little bit of a surprise, but we know he's been playing well this year.
He has, and I really thought that would have been a 2-0 for Snoot too. It's good for Huck to get a game there. It just kind of shows that he can compete with Snoot. Don't really know how the series played out, as we didn't and weren't able to catch it. But with this next one coming up, I actually have no idea which way this goes.
Really? I mean, because you were so vociferous in our conversations earlier about how strong True was.
That's the thing,
have you lost, hang on, have you lost some faith? Have you lost True faith?
No, he was meant to go through in first place in this group. I didn't really plan for him to come down and have to play Snoot. So now it's starting to tick over. But it should be in True's favour. But actually, Snoot can win this series.
Yeah, but he had a convincing win when they met earlier.
2-0. Straightforward as well.
Should be the favorite here again, I think.
But I spoke with Snoot about that series, and I even told him already back then on, what was it, Thursday or Wednesday, I was like, Snoot, keep your head up. I was like, this doesn't really matter. I was like, there is an 85% chance in my book that you're going to play him again. He's like, I don't know, I feel like I've played so bad. I should have just played what I normally do in CvZ. I took unnecessary risk against such an aggressive player. I was like, well, just let it sink in, analyze the series. I was like, there is a good chance, and in a few days, you're going to step into the booth and you're like, Roddy was right. I am going to play him again.
Roddy's moving into tutelage now as well. He's going to start coaching everyone.
A man's got to do what he's got to do. When rocks start falling from mountains, Paul, need a little extra work on the side.
Yeah, you definitely need to learn how to change a tyre, that's for sure. Thank you, gentlemen. For now, we're going to take a very quick break. When we come back, though, will be that match between True and Snoot. And don't forget, we love to see your tweets. We love to see your Facebook comments. So make sure you head on over to the official channels, including #IEM, of course, on Twitter, and follow us at IEM and /IEM on Facebook. We'll be back in a few with True versus Snoot.
True.